Hello comrades, welcome to this online battle between the Crooked Moon and the Dwarves. The who, you say? The Crooked Moon, my friends. This is one of the new DLC tribes from the new pack that I can't remember the name of. King and the Warlord, Warlord and the King, King and the Chimp, I don't know. And it's basically just the green skins with a few different units and a colour change. So I've brought a couple of these new units along. My opponent also has some of the new Dwarven units, so we'll be able to check out both sides a little bit. I don't have all the units because I was trying to build a balanced army, of course. So you can see these are my Orc boys there at the front. They're all in blue, so it's a bit of a different look for them. Very fetching indeed. So I've got 4 units of these across the front. They're going to be my first contact force. They're going to take the brunt of the hit from the Dwarves, try to wear them down a little bit before the big boys come in. Got some problems with the shadows here. You can see they look awesome when you look straight down on them, but if you look at them at an angle, they just look fuzzy and shite. So that's annoying. Anyway, got my 4 Orc boys across the front. For some reason they're a little bit staggered at the moment, but that's okay. And then in the back, my main dwarf killing force with all their armor-piercing rage is the Black Orcs, who are in fact blue, so we should call them the Blue Orcs, but why aren't they black actually? That's a good question. Anyway, got some trolls as well. Dennis is back, ready to smash some dwarven heads, because that's what he does. And I brought along this new unit called the Nasty Skulkers, who are kind of a sneaky assassin unit. They've got stalks so they can move undetected. They're little goblins, but they don't have much armor, much leadership, or much melee defense, so I feel like they're going to get absolutely destroyed in about 4 seconds, but we'll see. And then we have some fancy Black Orcs called the Crimson Killers. They're pretty awesome. They look pretty awesome anyway. They're very similar to regular Black Orcs, but they have this trait called Armed to the Teeth, which means they hit more than one foe when they swing their weapon about. So they're going to double up on their damage, seemingly. But they do have considerably less health than the regular Black Orcs by about 1,500. So quite a difference there, but we'll see how they perform. Right, who else do we have? Got myself a Goblin Big Boss, just to help out with any lords or heroes that may be around. Usually there's a lot of them on the dwarves. Let's have a look at my lord. We've got General Skarsnik, who is a poison melee expert with his very own personal bodyguard of a squig, who's a pretty mean looking squig. So we'll see how these two do. I think it's pretty cool that a general has a little bodyguard with him, especially because he's only a tiny little goblin. But he's a melee expert, poison attacks, squig with him, could be quite dangerous. Now on both my flanks I have the same thing. I have a unit of squigs. These little fellas, they look pretty dangerous. They're armor piercing, so they should be good against dwarves. That one's got a proper scaly head. They're pretty cool to look at. I imagine they're going to be like warhounds, but just more dangerous and more intense. Got some armor piercing orc boar boys on each of the flanks as well, so that is most of my army. Now for the dwarven fella, his front line, he's got some longbeards, 2 units of dwarf warriors. He's got 1 runesmith, 2 runesmith, and a rune lord, so he loves the runes. And I believe this is one of the new lords on his little riding table, or whatever that's called, riding altar, whatever it is. He's new. There's also the Peak Gate Guard, who are fancy hammerers, basically. They've got an interesting colour scheme, but they look pretty awesome. The shadow thing's really annoying me. Awesome shadows. We'll look at them from this angle, just to keep the awesome shadows. But they're pretty much the same as regular hammerers. They do have armor sundering though, which means they reduce the armor of whoever they're fighting. So that's a pretty awesome little trait. Could be really useful, especially against the Black Orcs. But we'll see how they perform. They might be utter trash cans. He's got 2 units of Quarrelers. I'm not sure what this effect is going off on them. I guess some kind of buff perhaps. Then he's got a unit of Slayers, but these are no ordinary Slayers. They're Dragonback Slayers, obviously one of the new units. Their thing is that they... where is it? Bonus versus large and armor piercing, of course. Where is their... they do have some kind of buff. I can't find it at the moment. Where is it? Oh, it's down here. Power of the Dragonback. So they have flame resistance, which seems utterly pointless, but they do have minus 36% speed on anyone they attack, and that is going to come in very handy when they're trying to chase down cavalries. Got some miners and dwarf warriors at the back, some more miners on the sides, and that's pretty much the main bulk of his army. But then over here, hidden out the way, is a couple of new units. These are Rangers. Their deal is that they're pretty quick on their feet and they have stalk, so they can hide and sneak up on people and blast them in the back. They're mainly a ranged unit, but they can of course throw down a little bit in melee like most of the ranged units for the dwarves. They don't have a ton of melee attack, but they do have pretty high weapon strength and some melee defense, so they can last a little bit. They do have less armor, 40 armor. That's probably the least of any dwarf ever, so pretty low armor for them, which makes a change. But yeah, pretty interesting unit. They've got some potential, I think. We'll see how he does with those, but at the moment I couldn't see them. They were completely invisible to me because of the stalk ability, so they're keeping a low profile for now. I did think though that he had something up his sleeve, because when I looked at his army I thought it looked a bit small, and I thought it's strange that he didn't bring any artillery, because I didn't bring any artillery because I thought he'd have the artillery advantage, so I was going to rush him, basically. That's why I didn't bring any ranged units. I thought maybe he had some hidden artillery or something, and I didn't really know what the rangers could do. I'd heard about them, but I didn't know that they had stalk and stuff, so wasn't expecting rangers, but I was expecting something. Anyway, he's on the move, which is a little bit surprising for the dwarves, because most people generally stay stationary with the dwarves. They like to play defensively, because that is generally the best way the dwarves should be played. And for that reason, I started to move up on him. I thought I can catch him while he's trying to set his army up and get himself in place. I thought, nope, going to give him no time. We'll start to move up on him. Don't want to let those quarrelers settle down. He's moving his quarrelers off to the left there, you can see, which is a bit of an odd move. You'd think he'd have them firing, but he's obviously coming out to try and get my flanking units, my boar boys and my squigs. It's a pretty risky move though, bringing out your quarrelers like that, unprotected. They're very exposed there, so it's pretty risky. Starting to move my units in on the flank now though, my squigs and my boar boys. He's casting some bullshit spell on my squig though. He fears the squig, rightly so. Going to test my squigs out on these miners, see what they can do. This is literally the first time I've used the squigs as well. I dove straight into an online battle with the new units. They look mental, doing flips and stuff. Awesome. So bringing those in, trying to hit them from all sides at once as well. Bringing the squigs and the boars in on the left. And of course those exposed quarrelers are going to have to run away, meaning they did pretty much nothing when they ran out there. And that whole left side is going to get absolutely run through by squigs and boars. Some orc boys coming through now as well. Go on, squigs. So while it wasn't really my plan, we've managed to break the right hand side of his line, the left hand side to me. That leaves his flanks very unprotected very early. On the right I charged my boars in to help out the squigs on those miners, but he sent his slayers over, and you can see that trait coming into play here, that minus 36% speed. My boars have got 39 speed, which is pretty bad. And that's what makes those new slayers very dangerous. Heavier cavalries are going to struggle to get away from them. The main lines are engaged now though. All my orc boys got my trolls in there, starting to bash down some dwarf heads. You can see these slayers though just not letting my flanking units escape. My boars and squigs, neither of them can get away. They're both routing. I was trying to get after the rangers with them, but those slayers were not having any of it. They were taking me down. These squigs are slowly falling and wavering, but they do have like 40 kills, so that's pretty good. Let's have a watch. There's a lone Rambo squig. Chomping them down. Chomping them down with no problems. I've moved my black orcs up now, giving my orc boys a bit of time to wear the front line down before the black orcs came in. I'm starting to flank on both sides now. On the right I've got the Crimson Killers coming in, and he's answered with his Rune Lord, which is a curious decision, as he sent him in alone against one of my most damaging units. And this unit of miners don't seem to be too fussed about getting stabbed in the back by Crimson Killers, so, you know, I'm not going to complain. Along the front line we're still chopping through them. Got my trolls in there for the armor piercing. Black Orcs completely broken the left side now. I'm going to start to push around, looking to completely envelop them, completely surround all their units. And that should be all she wrote. Sending off this unit of Black Orcs here to try and chase away the skirmishers. I don't want them settling and firing on the back of my boys while we're trying to envelop Dwarf. So I've got to keep them on the move. Let's have a tactical view. See those rangers firing on my Black Orcs there. Don't think they have armor piercing though, so they're not too dangerous to Black Orcs. Crimson Killers still chopping into that Rune Lord. He's losing his health, not very quickly, well, not terribly quickly. He's taking a beating though, he's lost half his health nearly. Spells being cast. Oh, these quarrelers are going to have a go with the Black Orcs. Oh dear. That's the end of them. More Black Orcs moving around, trying to get fully behind all of his troops. Get these Peak Gate Guard down. And he's going to have no one left. Oh, they are knocking my Black Orcs around a bit. I'll give them that. They're putting up a fair fight. Oh, in come the Slayers. In the back with their golden axes. And their ginger mohawks. Is that a rule to be in the Slayers? You have to be ginger? Do the Slayers have rules? Or do you just give them axes and let them charge in? Do they die at ginger? All these Slayer based questions I must have answered. Anyway, many a dwarf lie dead this day, as do many an orc, but I've got Skarsnik and my Goblin Big Boss after his general, the Rune Lord, and he has been thoroughly destroyed. As you can see, his little table on the floor, his riding table, as we'll call it. Skarsnik and his squig there. Does his squig have a name? I feel like his squig probably has a name, like an actual name, like Squigsy. Probably not that, because that's terrible. But let me know if he does have an actual lore name. If he is an actual lore character, I don't know. Are they all lore characters, or some of them made up, some of them lore? I don't know. Let me know. all kinds of wavering going on now. Mostly dwarves, but some of my boys as well. My Black Orcs struggling there. They've taken a fair old beating. Trying to get after that Rune Smith as he'll buff their leadership just a little bit. So if we get him dead, all these other units, there's some white surrender flags already being raised. It's only a matter of time. Only the Slayers are going to hang about, because of course they are unbreakable, so they'll fight to the very last dwarf, no matter what. Skarsnik's squig actually has a pretty cool animation. I'm not sure if you'll see it. I'll try and see if we can follow him and try to see it. I meant to show you, I'm not sure I'll do it to him. Oh, whoa! He got thoroughly decapitated. There's a Runesmith head on the floor. Nice one. You ketchup mess bastards. Hopefully I send them back into battle. I think I do, yeah, looks like I do. We can try and see this squig animation. It's a pretty cool one. Still a few Slayers left. See if we can get it. Come on, Squigsy. Or whatever your name is. He's getting near to them. There he goes. Yeah! He gobbled that Slayer down like there's no tomorrow. That's a pretty cool little thing. That Slayer is gone. I'm not sure where he puts it, to be honest, because the Slayer's probably about the same size as him. So he must have some very potent stomach acid to digest him that quickly. But there we go. The Crooked Moon is victorious against the Dwarves. I'm surprised he didn't play as the new clan. Clan Angrand, or whatever they're called. Squigs, one of the Squigs did really well. 82 kills overall. That's pretty good. The one on the left, that's the one that got caught by the Slayers. Only 16. Same with the Boar Boys. One did well, one did shit. Crimson Killers, they did pretty good. 68, not bad, not bad. They were fighting the Rune Lord most of the time, though. Black Orcs, of course, did well. Trolls did well. My nasty skulker. Oh, I forgot about my nasty skulkers. Did I not use them? I must have completely forgot about them. I don't remember using them, actually. I must have just left them at the back somewhere, hidden, skulking away. Oh, well. Forgot about them. We don't get to see what they can do, but those Peak Gate Guard did pretty good. They were smashing through some heads. Slayers did really well, 133. They must have been cutting through my Orc boys like there was no tomorrow. Everything else did kind of okay. Those Rangers got a few kills. He probably could have used them a bit better, I think, if he moved them in a bit sooner, used that stalk to its advantage. Could have been pretty dangerous. But there we go. A good little first game with the new units. I think both of us were just trying out the new units, to be honest. So it wasn't kind of a major serious one. He was trying out some units, I was trying out some units. We're going to see what they could do. Good game, though. It was nice to play a game without artillery, actually. I sometimes like just, you know, melee infantry galore, just kind of getting a little bit tactical in there. You don't have to worry about being destroyed from far away, so you don't have to rush up, even though that's what I did because I thought it was going to be artillery. But still, interesting to see some of the new units. I like those Rangers, they seem pretty cool. I think if he wanted to win that one, he would have had to use them a bit better. His plan was cool, like hiding away and then sneaking them out on me, but I think he should have tried to shoot on my flanking units, my Orcs and Squigs, a little bit sooner with them, and he could have got rid of them on the right before they even did anything at all, even though that's pretty much what he did. But he could have used Slayers on the left, which would have really saved him, because that's where I pretty much destroyed him, and those Slayers would have cut through the Squigs and Orc boys. Probably could have done with some Thunderers as well, because heavy armour and stuff, he didn't bring any kind of armour-piercing missiles at all. I don't believe that the Rangers are armour-piercing, so he did put himself at a little bit of a disadvantage there. Probably could have done with one less Runesmith as well. There's too many heroes against an army that usually brings a lot of numbers. He needed to make up some numbers, basically, by just bringing some cheaper units. Could have got an extra unit of Miners or two, or even Dwarf Warriors, to try and cover his flanks, but opted for the Runesmith game, and it failed miserably, unfortunately. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you in the future.